Obviously, when we come down to, as I explained before, what some of you may find hard to do is to get the double, because obviously if we're not using the correct technique with the fingers, it tends to go off, because what we haven't got is the correct control over the stick. Now, as I explained to you a few minutes ago about having the correct technique, the control is the most important thing. Without control, we can't play slow, we can't play medium, we can't play fast. And what we try and do when we're learning the drums is to take the correct technique from a great teacher. And we work on our technique, all down to how much practice you do. And we try and get that technique to work for us in from quiet to loud and from fast to slow. And the two techniques that we do, obviously, is the single stroke and then the double stroke. Now, certain aspects on what we play on the drums requires those two elements, because that is all what drumming is. It's a make-up of the combination of singles and doubles. So what you've got to really try and understand and gain from all these lessons is at some point, if there's a little bit of weakness in any area of your technique, there are certain aspects on drumming throughout all these lessons you may have problems with. So you really got to try and make sure that you go back to the root cause of your playing, go back to basics and look at your hand techniques and check, and foot techniques, and check that they're actually working for you, so that you can progress and move them at a comfortable speed and further, so that you can then relax and it's not a strain when you can't do your singles very fast. And we've got like, because you're pushed to the limit and you've got to play a 16th note type of groove like that. We want to be able to play a 16th note groove nice and comfortable and relaxed, because that's the best way in which we get our rhythms out, when we're nice and relaxed. So you don't want to put a strain on your technique. So we have to work on singles on that front. When we're working on doubles, as I just explained with the jazz rhythm, obviously to get the right amount of speed, my doubles have to be working, otherwise they can't create the double technique, which is there, and there, and there, and there, and there, to actually pull that technique out. So if I've got a really fast funk rock rhythm to do, I can actually do that because my technique allows me to go at that kind of pace. Very rarely, I may not even play at that kind of speed, but if I can play beyond the speed and the dynamics that is required, then I can play within my perimeters. I'm more relaxed, and so therefore the results are much better. And that goes for every application on the kit. Your singles or doubles with the hands, the same with your footwork. You've got to work on a double stroke with a foot, you've got to work on a single stroke with a foot, double pedal if you use one. And then everything is just a combination rhythmically of the singles and doubles between hands and feet. So it's very important that somewhere, if we have a tricky rhythmical phrase to play, whether it's a fill or a tricky rhythm to play, some form of aspect of your single and doubles are going to come into play. So it's vital that the more accomplished you are at those, then you're just learning an independent rhythmical makeup, whether it's a fill or a rhythm that requires those two elements. And a quick example of that, actually, is, because I know everybody knows the band, Queens of the Stone Age, with Dave Grohl played, and I've forgotten the title of it, for no one knows, it's just come back to me. One of the fills, the third fill in it, requires, in fact, it's known as the Billy Cobham rudiment. And what it is a right, left, or a left, right, which I shall demonstrate now. One under, two under, three under, four under. That's what it is, but also, you must remember, these are two equal hands on two equal arms. The left must not suffer, as I know it suffers for you people. You're always struggling, except if you're left-handed, then the right hand suffers. You're always struggling to keep the weaker side up. What you must bear in mind, and this is very important, is that the stronger hand mustn't run away with it. Let the stronger hand come down so that the weaker hand has time to build up and get better and better, so it matches the right, and then they both move up. Otherwise, if the right hand or the left hand, depending if you're left-handed, gets too far down the line and too good and too accomplished, you really are going to be struggling with the left on so many different things, because we need the weak side to mirror the strong side. So, back to that rudiment. I shall come back this way on the kit, and starting with my weak hand, which is the left hand, which isn't weak because I've been practicing very hard on it. Here we go. Okay, now that particular rudiment, if we break that down, because everyone loves it, and it's such a fantastic rudiment to do. When we're doing triplets, it fits in there perfectly, like this. When we're going... just fits in perfect with a triplet type of thing. The velocity and the clarity of the beats have to come out. And what determines that is our technique again. If I take away one hand, I'll play it right-handed, so I'm starting with the right hand, bearing in mind it's right, left, left. The right hand, starting with the right hand, is playing a double stroke. So some people that love that particular feel have tried their hardest. Put the old MP3 player or your iPod on and you're practicing like mad. You can't do it at the speed that's required or the velocity. You have to break down the actual technique. The technique is the right hand's playing the double, starting with the right hand. The left hand is playing fast singles. So we've now got a weak hand trying to do a fast single, and because we're struggling with the doubles, the right hand can't keep up. That's why that rudiment, or that particular fill, is particularly hard for some people. So again, that's going to catch you out if you're trying your hardest to do it because you love it and you love Dave Grohl and Billy Cobham, and why not? That particular application of that technique as well, once you get that kind of technique off, it can be applied around the kit so many different ways, which is giving you more textures, more colorations, making things more excitable and more interesting, simply because I'm able to do that technique with the right velocity to draw the beats out at different speeds, so that I'm not struggling at any speeds to try and do that particular technique. And I'll show you a couple of examples. We've got that straight example, as I said. Yeah? So you can play like 16th notes and start falling into just a right hand one if you feel more comfortable with the leading hand, the stronger hand playing it, which will be this kind of thing. The pulse will be somewhere along a 1 and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a... So you can get used to how that particular fill and the subdivision, which is basically what it is, works within just 16th notes. And of course, you do it relative to your own capabilities. So if you need to play it really slowly, yeah, you go at your pace. And I'd love to be there helping you individually, singularly, but this is the closest we've got. But always do it with a smile on your face. Because the reason is, if you think back, sorry I have to divert here, but this is the sort of thing I do. You've got to think back to when you first wanted that drum kit and how wonderful that felt. And you wanted it because you probably saw a drummer and went, oh my God, I want to do that. Okay, and what a great feeling that is. A feeling of smiles, not headaches, not I can't do that. And what you've got to try and realise is it's such a wonderful instrument to play, and music is such a wonderful thing, and it should be heartfelt. And whilst learning techniques can sidetrack you from believing that it's such a wonderful instrument to play and get the excitement and the enthusiasm to do something, sometimes it can destroy you and bring you down because you can't do an aspect of it. You won't get the gig for doing the cleverest drum fill. You get the gig because you play in time, you play solid, you turn up sober, and you actually make the music feel good, and you use big ear holes here to listen to the other musicians on stage. Because believe it or not, it's a team effort. I know the bass players may be going, oh my God, and the guitarist says, well, we won't go to guitarists. But at the end of the day, you are the captain of the ship. Thank you very much. You can only be one captain. You're the captain. You can control the tempos. You control the feel, the intensities. You can dynamically move the band up and down. Enjoy it. The more you enjoy it, it will come out in your playing. So when you're doing these things and you're struggling, slow them down, because you can always think more clearly, and it gives you time to actually work the technique at your required standard to work these things in. So don't ever try and do things too fast either. That's another big fault that people do. You must slow these things down and get used to it. Slowly build up so that you're not putting a strain on your technique. Move it up 5 BPM. You can hardly notice a difference. If you move it up 5 BPM, you're not putting a strain on your technique. If you did that over 4 weeks, that'd be 20 BPM. So put your click tracks on, or your drum machines, 5 BPM, and listen to it, and you'll hardly hear the difference. Then put it up 20 BPM, you'll hear the difference. So if you actually practice properly at moving up 5 BPM over 4 weeks, 4 5s are 20, there we go. That's what we do with practice. And the repetition of it, we must do lots of repetitions, okay? And when you think you're playing for 10 minutes, you're actually playing for 1.5 minutes, that's not enough. We've got to mould our techniques in so that they become a spontaneous reflex action from the muscles.